Julian with DT Motorsports. You might have heard of us, maybe not, who cares? Three-wheeler stuff's kind of over now because of the regulations, but anyways, so this is a trike conversion, right? This is a 501 stroker, negative clamps, all that stuff. If you've been on the internet, you might have seen it. So today, what I'm going to talk about, it's something that is very important when you're building these, and it applies to absolutely all of them, and dirt bikes. So basically, when you put your front end together, there's a few steps that a lot of people miss. When you miss these steps, it can create binding scenarios and really negatively affect your suspension. You might start getting some leaking seals, you might have some issues. So in order to get this, functioning properly, that's without holding the brakes. So really see how the front mashes now. There's no dead spots. See how it pops back up? There's no dead spots, okay? So when you have binding, what happens is you'll come up part way, it'll kind of get stuck, then it'll shoot up the rest of the way. So that's what you don't want. Now, if you don't build your spacing correctly, if your offsets are off, when you tighten everything up, it can create the same kind of a problem like that. It can bind things. So what I'm gonna do now is we're gonna take the front wheel off. I'm gonna swap the tire. Then when we go to put it back on, I'm gonna show you guys what the process is and how to do it without binding the forks. All right. Okay, so we got my 9-year-old Shane videotaping. He's always part of the team. We got the MTR Max, the front sand tire. Best in the business, by the way. You won't find a better handling front sand tire or better rear carcasses. MTR tires is, in my opinion, the leader in sand tire equipment for ATVs. Anyways, what we have here is we got this O-bore tire on. So now what you want to do is you want to spin it like that. I have a putty knife in here. This putty knife I've had for years. I actually pulled it out of a rock crusher. It was in some asphalt I was crushing. That's why it looks so tattered. Still makes money though. This hammer I found when I was 5 years old. Still have it too. Anyways, so got the putty knife so the axle can spin freely. We have the axle tightened. This side we did not loosen because I already have the offset set. But if you're doing a whole new setup, stick a putty knife in here too, and then have these out or loose. That way the whole axle can float around. Now, like I said, I've already had this front end together a long time, so I know my offset's good because I run all the same rims, same hub. This is a DT Motorsports front hub. It's based off a 200X front hub, but it has a 4on156 Yamaha pattern. On our Kawasaki behind me and my Honda in front of me, we got the same hub but in a 4on144 pattern, which is a Honda and Kawasaki pattern. Anyways, this is a 10x5 front wheel, so it's offset a 1/2 inch, but we have everything balanced and the weight is distributed correctly, so it runs true. We have no issues. All right, so get this sucker spinning, okay? And then stab the brakes. Do it again. Stab the brakes. When I say stab, I mean hit it hard and fast. Okay, 4, 5. Now hold it. Pop that out. Now we'll put our 2 bolts in here. Make sure they start nice. Now you don't want to use the impact feature on these. This is really soft metal. But what I do is I get them there. I just get them set. That's all I do with the impact. Okay, now that that's set, we're gonna lower this, and then we're gonna tighten the axle and then the other parts. All right, we'll get that out of there. Okay, so after you have everything set, every time you stab that brake, this fork leg can kick around. So let's say you had both of them undone, this whole unit right here will float when you have everything moving freely. And when you stab it, it grabs it on the rotor, and it grabs it, and it shocks it. Now we're all centralized. Now if all your offsets are correct, you'll have the same amount of space, everything will be in line and even. Now if something doesn't line up, you have to change parts and machine it to line up correctly. You can't just crank it down or you'll have your binding issues. So a lot of these conversions, a lot of the builds that I see, yeah, that's tight, have a lot of these binding issues amongst other issues. Now don't tighten stuff like Damien, because all my stuff's really tight. Then you won't be able to take it back off later. Now that this is down on the ground, tighten our lug nuts. Now, I got this cheap socket because it goes on the lug nuts all the way. My expensive snap-on socket only goes in a little bit, even though it's a deep socket, kind of funny. All right, so we're tightening this. We're putting on all our dirt tires, even though we're going to the dunes tomorrow, because it's winter time and everything's packed down. So we're gonna run dirt tires. All right, well, you'll have to stay tuned for more videos. We're closing this shop location out. I'm gonna go to Alaska and work, then I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna buy a whole new shop. We're gonna be 2-3 times the size of this shop. We're moving on to a bunch of other things. We're gonna make a lot of billet parts. Like I said earlier, too bad the trike stuff's over. But yeah, this is Damien. I'm gonna have more informational, helpful videos later. Like I said, I ain't trying to sell you parts, I ain't doing nothing like that. I'm just sharing information so that everybody can enjoy their sport. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks. New top end works good. Still runs like a Chinese thing, but not too shabby. What do you think, Shane?
I love it. We got more power too.
Oh, it's gonna be fun tomorrow.